Cam live.
This is what we call live in paradise, live and direct to you. Yes, that is the cap. That's fun. So rad.
A couple days ago, I was down here and Kyle set it up. My mom helped set it up. Everyone was coming here really small here.
Awesome.
What's up, Irators? Welcome to episode 3 of Iration's The Uplifter. My name is Drake Peterson. We are the band Iration. For those of you who are joining us for the first time, this is our weekly live stream. That little video that we just played for you is of our dear friend Michael McCauley, who we just lost this week. This entire show is dedicated to him and his family, and we got to meet him and play for him in Baltimore this past summer. And we love you, Mike, and we're so sorry to his family. So we are here every Friday at 3:20 Pacific to bring you positive news, happy commentary, and give you some of the latest information about what's going on in our world. And today we have two really special guests with us live from San Diego. We have Jess and Tim Azzarano.
What's up,
What's going on, guys?
Hi.
So Tim and Jess, they are the founders of the iRaters Facebook fan club. Jess, Tim, you want to give us a little background about the iRaters fan club and how it got started?
Sure. So a couple years ago, Tim had been going on Facebook and looking for groups. And he noticed that there was no Iration fan group that we could find. So he thought it was great. Iration's always called us iRaters. So we thought it was good to do that. We rolled that out and then came to a VIP show and approached somebody about it, told them what we were doing. And then about a week later, management and Xavier reached out to us and asked us what we wanted to do with it and said you guys were cool with it. And it's been growing ever since.
Well, thank you guys. Dude, you guys are the best, and you just help like spread the word of the Iration music, and it's absolutely amazing. How many shows have you guys been to?
There really is actually no count. I couldn't put it together. There's really, we follow you guys so much, and we came from the East Coast originally in DC, so we guys, started over there, and our very first show was in Hawaii. Saw you guys at the Mac Center in Maui, and ever since then we've just been all about you guys. You guys are all about the love, and we're all about you.
Yeah, I love you guys.
Nice. Yeah, love you guys, man.
I
could probably figure that out. I could probably go back and find tickets and badges and stickers and all that stuff, because I definitely have like a box full of everything.
Oh yeah.
Nice. I always like when we're in a random city in the middle of the country somewhere, and then all of a sudden I just walk backstage and I see the Azzaranos. Back there, I'm like, hey, what are you guys doing here? You guys
always a good time back there.
Most recent
Oklahoma or something like that.
Wisconsin.
Milwaukee, yeah. Exactly.
Milwaukee.
I surprised everybody.
Yeah.
Totally random.
How many pieces of swag do you guys have? Just behind you guys have a couple cool drawings. One of them I can see.
So these two drawings, actually, today is I got to give a shout out, Jimmy Obadiah's birthday.
Nice.
Jimmy Obadia at all of your shows, almost here locally in California and other places too. I was fortunate enough to pick up this Adam. They're all signed on the back. He gets them signed by you guys, and then I was fortunate to pick up this one over here, which is the Lost and Found.
Cool,
I think
nice.
we did at a show.
Yeah.
So we have all of those. We have so many VIP badges, and
Couldn't tell you about shirts and hoodies and hats. I have no idea. That's kind of like tickets. I have no idea how many of them.
And didn't you guys initially move to San Diego? Kind of was music a big part of that decision to move from the East Coast?
I would say definitely, yeah. Music, weather were two of the biggest things. There's always more bands that you could see out here. The East Coast. I mean, that's what it took you guys a while to get out there, and that's why it took us so long to be introduced to you all. And then it took someone who had actually known you guys personally. But yeah, moving out here was definitely all about music for sure. Music and weather, definitely.
Can you go ahead and just plug how everyone can join the fan club and what the process of that is? Like, is it all on Facebook or can it be on Instagram too?
So we don't have anything on Instagram. I think that would be really cool. I just probably don't know how to do that. I can maybe speak to Xavier if he knows how. Facebook is www.facebook.com/groups/irators808. I think we could not get just plain irators, but you guys are, from Hawaii, and that's 808 state. So we figured that was a good end of it. So yeah, you can join us there. There's a few questions. They're not mandated. There's a bit of a screening process. We let you guys in.
Well, thank you so much for joining us here today on the Uplifter. We got some cool stuff that you guys are going to be joining us for. The first segment that we always do, Jess and Tim, is news and updates. So right now, if you've all been watching Instagram and watching our Facebook page, we have announced the release date for COASTIN. It's going to be on July 10th. I don't want to get too into it because we're going to be talking about it a little bit later on, but the pre-order starts on May 1st. Next, we also have the Right Here, Right Now promotion. We are going to be extending that because we have been getting a lot of amazing pictures, a lot of stuff from healthcare workers, teachers, a lot of the essential workers who we love and are so incredibly thankful for. And we want to just get a whole bunch more people like that. So we're extending it to Sunday, April the 26th. So if you haven't already sent a picture of you holding a sign saying Right Here, Right Now, please send that in. You can go to irationmusic.com/RHRN. Also on the irationmusic.com, you can check out our COASTIN merch sale that we've got going on. It's 30% off. That's 30. Treat yourself, buy yourself something, buy your girlfriend, your wife, your husband, your boyfriend. If you can't take them out to date night, maybe just buy them a little merchandise. It's on sale. Okay, y'all, come on. Next up, we are going to be doing the drop. And the drop is where we are all going to put a nice little background. We've all picked something nice. Today's theme for that are our favorite concert picture from one of our shows or something that's funny or our favorite venue. So on the count of 3, we're going to go ahead and change it. All right. 1, 2, 3.
Oh, no.
Right here. Right here.
Where is it?
Right there.
Oh, no. Very good. Are we on?
Yeah.
You're on, Tim.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Where'd it go?
I don't think Joe got the memo.
I'm seeing a lot of favorites here. Micah's, I remember clearly from Wilmington because it was pouring rain. And Drake, is that a 5 Points Amphitheater?
No, that's in New York City.
Oh yeah, cool.
That's a new venue on the pier.
Yeah, that was an awesome show.
Yeah.
Should I just do my own face?
There it is. Mine is a cool POV of what we would see looking out, and this was at the Santa Barbara Bowl during Live from Paradise tour.
That's awesome.
And it's just a little POV shot of the crowd, which is pretty rad.
That was such a great tour.
Tim and Jess, what do you guys got? Where's that from?
Observatory?
Observatory San Diego.
Cool.
Yeah. With seeing you guys non-festival when we got over here to the East Coast. This was like what, March or April
17,
2017.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, that was a fun show.
I actually did like a funny face. You can't see it, but I'm always so serious and crazy, right? And like today, this time I actually had my tongue out. Tim usually has his tongue out in every picture we take, but this time it was me.
Wild.
Tim going with the straight man on that one.
Yeah, that's like the one and only for sure.
And Jody, it looks like yours is Pacific Amphitheater.
I think so. Yeah, I just changed it, so
It's a goodie.
you know
He's got a lot of good ones.
Yeah.
exactly.
Jason, where's yours from? Is that New York too?
Yeah, we picked the same venue, Drake, because we loved
It
it,
was-
so
Bros.
much.
It was epic.
Yeah, it was epic.
That looks awesome.
And Poosh, do you want to tell them about that story about that?
I remember. North Carolina, I think, right?
Yeah, so it was in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we played kind of right after that massive like hurricane came through there.
Hurricane Michael.
Yeah, and
Shout out to the manager.
and we got the show had been sold out for like weeks. We have a really great fan base in Wilmington, North Carolina, and we played this place called Greenfield Lake Amphitheater. I think we only did one night that time, but it was, the forecast was torrential downpour basically, and we were just like, you know what, we're just gonna play, you know, and they weren't canceling the show, so we just decided to go. And it right before we went out there, it just started absolutely dumping on the stage, and basically right where I was standing, it was like the water was pouring off the top of the amphitheater onto my head. And like midway through the set, my eyes started like burning. I was like, dude, there's definitely like,
Acid.
I don't know, chemicals and like bird shit like raining down into my eyes and mouth like while we're playing.
Oh my god!
But somehow we just went through it. We went through with it and played. I think we had to take one break because it got so bad that we were afraid we're going to short everything out. So we took a break for like 15 minutes, and we came back on and finished the show, and it was pretty awesome, pretty memorable. And I think Chris Pick took this shot, so shout out to Chris Pick.
The East Coast does not cancel shows. I tell you.
Yeah, it was funny too, because I remember being just far enough back that I was kind of covered by the overhang, but Micah was right on the cusp. So it was like a waterfall. I could see it just going right on top of him.
I was like, what?
And I guess I gotta shout out the crew who basically dried everything as best they could and kind of had to rewire some things, and it was wild.
Pretty gnarly. Yeah,
I bet that looks crazy.
MB, what's yours from?
So this is Lenny's first show.
Nice.
I think it was a St. Patrick's Day festival in Tempe at the Tempe Beach Park. But you got a pre-beard Yasad. You have a creepy Micah in the background, just like totally.
Wow, I had to look close to see that one.
But yeah, that was with.
I didn't even see that.
That was us and Pepper and Reb and a bunch of bands out in Arizona, and Lenny's first show. He probably met
and X-Men,
and he probably met like 3,000 people when he was about 6 months old or
Awesome.
whatever it was. But it helped him socialize. So
Definitely. Yeah, Lenny's a dope dog. He's really cool.
Yes.
Well, everyone's got amazing photos, so round of applause. We're all winners. We're all winners today, y'all. All right, well, let's get to some stories, some uplifting news. MB, why don't you start it off for us today?
all right, well, I took the easy route, and to pick up where you were leaving off with the segue, my uplifting story is Iration releasing their 7th full-length album.
Hey. Wow.
But I mean, to be honest, that's like pretty great news for everybody that would be watching this show. So, you know, I think we're all excited as a band about putting it out. We all, I think we're all pretty happy with the results and just excited to share. And I think during this time right now, everybody could use some uplifting tunes. And I think it's a pretty positive, mellow, kind of groovy, feel good vibe all the way through. So I think people are going to dig it. We're excited about the features. We got 13 songs lined up for you guys, and we can't wait for you guys to hear it. So first single coming soon. But yeah, that's my news.
Super stoked.
Definitely stoked for that.
Boom.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Fire.
It's good we like actually
Cheers.
had took the time to record that, and instead of it being now, if we had waited, wouldn't be able to complete it or something. Like, it's nice that we have it done and ready to share.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I wish we could have kind of pushed the release a little earlier, but there's a lot of ducks you have to get in a row. So we're getting it out as pretty much as early as we can. So even though it's not till July, I think it'll still be welcomed with open arms at that point.
Totally. Always.
Well,
Still a lot of summer left.
a lot of summer. Mr. Poosh Daddy, now a real Poosh Daddy. What you got for us?
Obviously my uplifting story is the birth of my daughter, Hannah.
Yes.
That is about the most uplifting thing that I could ever imagine in life. So it's probably the most uplifting thing that's happened to me in my life. So just to kind of pair it up was the amazing care that we got in Cottage Hospital in Santa Barbara. Basically, right now you can't, when you go into the hospital, you're only allowed to have one guest. So obviously it was me and Chloe, and you're not allowed to leave your room. So we're basically in a room. I had a window bed. There's a bathroom and a shower. Chloe was in the bed, and then you can't even go into the hallway. So we were in there for 4 days, just with the baby, just kind of getting, everything started. And it's like, when you have a kid in the hospital, the nurses are there 24/7, and they're basically helping you, teaching you how to do all of the things that you need to do to take care of a baby. Like, they show you how to swaddle, they show you how to, all the changing and the burping, and, they get you on a feeding schedule, and they're taking her temperature and they're weighing her, and it's all that stuff. And they're basically like answering all your questions, and they're all have been there for years and years. They have tons of experience with babies. So it's a really comforting thing. And just from the surgeons to all the doctors, all the people that we dealt with in there, super positive experience. Like, everyone was awesome and super safe. They all had masks and gloves, and they were like, every time they enter your room, they're sanitizing gloves, everybody was super safe. So it was just an awesome experience overall. And obviously, you come out of it with a baby, it's pretty sweet.
How is life adjusting with Hannah?
It's a lot of not sleeping, basically, because you have to feed a newborn every 3 hours. So basically every 3 hours throughout the night and all day long, Chloe has to wake up. I mean, I can get a little bit of sleep during the middle of the night, and she tries to sleep during the day, and I'll just kind of keep an eye on the baby while she's sleeping. So that's what makes it really tough. And then obviously she's like shitting and pissing a lot. So it's, it's just, you're changing like 10 to 15, like 10 to 12 diapers a day, like easily. So, and then you'll like change your diaper, and it'll be like, some poo, and then you throw it out, and then you change the whole diaper, put her clothes back on, and then like pick her up, and all of a sudden you feel like and it's like, oh shit! Literally, you gotta do the whole process over again, and it's like, or you'll like undo the diaper and like clean her off, and then all of a sudden you'll have her there and she'll just pee all over you. So you're just like, it's a real ego check, It's like you're just realizing like my priorities are not priorities anymore. She's like, all her life, and the priority is like 100% the baby. So yeah, it's a good thing.
Well, hopefully she can make an appearance on the Uplifter sometime when she's not sleeping.
Yeah, she maybe can get on here before the end of the show is done. I'll see if she's awake.
Excellent. Adam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, thanks. And obviously this is going to be some tough news to follow, because we're all very thankful for baby Hannah joining us in the world. But my news is about Captain Tom Moore. He's a 99-year-old World War II veteran. And before his 100th birthday, he wanted to lap his garden 100 times to raise money for the NHS, which is the National Health Service for the United Kingdom. And he basically, in doing this, he far exceeded the contributions for his campaign. And just today, they said that he had actually gotten over 20 million pounds in contributions. So pretty huge deal. And it's basically just such an uplifting story on not just his age, but his mindset. And basically the NHS offers free healthcare for the whole United Kingdom. So for me, I was born in England, and when I was born, my mom didn't have to pay anything for it. And they've been kind of inundated with people even traveling to the UK to have babies just because it's free. And then with the coronavirus, they were under a lot of pressure and kind of getting overrun. So he was helping to get some contributions for them. So basically, he got all this money, donated all of it, and has kind of become a celebrity worldwide. So it was a pretty cool story.
Awesome.
Excellent. It's nice to have free healthcare, isn't it? I wish we could get that over here.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. It's wild too. My mom was over there traveling, and she sprained her ankle, went into the hospital, same deal, just in and out. It's free. So it is pretty cool. But like I said, I mean, with the whole virus, I think all the healthcare workers worldwide are all under a lot of strain and pressure, and on top of doing normal medical duties. So it was pretty cool that he was able to raise that much money. And there's actually a petition right now to have him accepted into knighthood. So that would be a whole cherry on top as well.
Excellent story,
Nice.
Adam. Excellent.
Sure.
All right. Well, my story is going to be next, and mine is about basically the Pride movement. Because of everything that's going on, they've had to cancel every single Pride celebration that's in every single city, and they canceled stuff almost a month ago. So before things started to get really, really bad with all the cancellations. If you don't know what Pride is, essentially it's to help normalize the LGBTQ community and to celebrate all of the accomplishments that the community has accomplished in the decades. It started around in the 70s. So since it's been canceled all over the world, they're going to do one full day of like a giant virtual celebration. And it's going to be on June 27th. It's still, everyone's not really sure what it's going to entail, but they're going to have, comedians, they're going to have entertainers, musical performances, and a bunch of different presentations and speakers and all that jazz. So I'm excited to see what they're going to be scheduling, and I hope everyone can go and check out the whole Pride celebration on June the 27th. Tim and Jess, you guys got something for us?
Yeah, definitely.
So ours is our friend's company, actually. It's Hiking My Feelings. Sydney Williams is a really good friend of ours, and she has been through a lot in her life, had a lot of trauma and a lot of things go on as she was growing. And in order to heal, she found that going out in nature and finding nature would help her heal and help her help others. So she incorporated this Hiking My Feelings, and they do a book tour and they do hikes. They recently unfortunately had to cancel a Catalina Island yoga retreat / book tour that was going to have camping, and it was actually going to be with Rebel and Muse, obviously, Kaleo Wassman. So, and his wife, they had to cancel that. So later on in the podcast here, we're going to talk about some interesting, this virtual campfire that she's having instead since the COVID is going on. So we'll be able to give some information about that. And it's just a really uplifting story that kind of goes on, and not something that, is past, present, but it's also future.
Very cool.
Excellent. And so that's on, you said that's hikingmyfeelings.org. That was the website?
Yes, that is the website. The better place, which we'll talk about a little bit later too, is the Instagram account where they're going to be launching. And that can be found at Instagram at Hiking My Feelings.
Excellent.
Nice.
And all of these stories that we're talking about today and also in the future can be found either in the description below on this YouTube, or you can also go to our blog on irationmusic.com. Joe D, what's up?
How's it going?
Great. How are you?
Doing good. Can't complain. So I think, well, let me check if this is the same thing. I chose an article. It's similar to what Tim and Jess just touched on, but just saying basically if you're stressed or you have any sort of anxiety, to go outside and just get some fresh air and some sunlight. Yeah, and I figured like this, with the COVID going on, everybody's cooped up inside. Like, I don't really get stressed out much, but like I find that at the end of the day, I need to like go outside and get some fresh air. And also, just to add on to that, like put your phone down for a little bit, get off social media for like 20 minutes and just focus on nature, focus on your breath, meditate, do something like that. That's it.
Yeah, I think it's pretty wild too, because I mean, I think even in a place like Los Angeles, I mean, Drake, maybe you can attest to this, but it's like you can always go and find a little slice or a park or even just explore your neighborhood, a place you had never thought to go. I mean, Joe and I live in Ventura and we're pretty close to Ojai, so we have a lot of hiking available. But yeah, even in like a metropolis, there's always a little bit of a hike or nature you can get into.
I like to call it my own personal Zen island, so to speak.
Interesting phrase you chose there.
Do I sense a leak?
I gotta go to the bathroom.
Kason, digging the shades. Are you outside right now, or are you just
Speaking of outside?
Yeah, I'm sitting outside on my back porch looking at a lava field.
Must be nice.
Yeah, my story is an article that talks about 10 successful nature conservation stories from 2019. Pretty cool. They're just one about how coral reefs are able to come back even after they've been bleached. Another one is this deer mouse. It's not a mouse or a deer, but it's the world's smallest hoofed animal, just reappeared. They thought it was extinct, and then they just found them like rummaging around in Vietnam.
Dope.
So cute.
So that's pretty cool. And then yeah, just some other stories here. Some success stories to add to the uplifting vibe. If you all know me, I'm very into nature and nature conservation, and Sir David Attenborough is a mentor of mine.
Can you give us a quick little
Please.
A mentor.
Come on, do it, Case.
A hero.
Give us a quick little little Attenborough.
You've seen Animal Fantasies, right?
Yeah, here we go. Right here. There's the Animal Fantasies. You can check it out on YouTube.
I like the part where he sniffs the poop.
Yeah, we shot this last year in the Boise Botanical Garden.
What do you got there, Case?
That would be a blue-belly lizard right there.
But say it in Attenborough, man. Come on.
No, you gotta watch the video for the Attenborough voice. Check it out, man. YouTube.
Shout out to our videographer Sean Nunley for making some fire content. You can watch all of that stuff at on our Instagram or our YouTube. It's fire content.
And also shout out Dane Hod and Chris Fick for a lot of these fire backdrops we got going too.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
And shout out the reefs for being able to come back to life. I didn't realize that once they were white, bleached out and dead, that they could recover. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, so that's basically like their skeleton structure, and then when the conditions get more suitable, they can basically re-inhabit the skeleton and grow from it.
Gotcha.
Jason, what causes them to become bleached?
That is a combination of things, but generally it's rising water temperature. which can be caused by a number of different things.
All right. Well, those are all of our stories for today. Remember, you can check all climate. Yeah, let's all
Climate
say it
change.
together.
Being in the water.
It's real.
Big up the mouse deer.
Deer mouth.
So all of those stories, remember, you can check down below in the comment section or on irationmusic.com on the blog. And for our next segment, we are going to be answering some questions. This is our Q&A section that you guys have all submitted. If you want to have a chance to have your stuff submitted, you can go and call or text the number at 805-225-6886. We've been getting a lot of really awesome phone calls in and text messages. But today we're going to have Jessica and Tim read off some of our fan questions from the iRaters Facebook group. And we'll even probably read some of the ones that you guys submitted last week. So Tim, Jess?
So Lindsay Roach from Instagram would like to know, who's your celebrity crush? Any or all of you can take that.
I'll start it off. I've always kind of had a celebrity crush on Anne Hathaway. I don't know if that's kind of weird.
What?
And this is
Devil Wears Prada.
this is also Micah's favorite movie, but The Devil Wears Prada. He loves it. I do too. We go wild for it. Who's next?
I know who MB's still with celebrity crushes.
Oh yeah, he knows.
He has 10 hall passes.
I have one. Marina has 10. You have to get
Yeah.
it back.
Who's yours, MB?
If you guys watch Top Chef, you know my girl Padma Lakshmi. She's absolutely.
She's a hottie.
She is, and she just, it's not just the look; it's the whole package, So.
And remember your claim to fame? Didn't she like your tweet once or something like that?
Oh yeah, she's liked a few tweets.
MB fangirl?
All right, Poosh, how about you?
Me?
Yeah.
My celebrity crush is probably Tom Colicchio in the same vein. Shout out
Whoa. Happy Pride, Poosh.
No love for Gail Simmons.
Mine's all three Jonas Brothers.
Bind into one.
No, all three of them.
Yeah.
At once.
Kason?
My girlfriend might kill me for this, but she knows. Katy Perry, probably, just because I'm a big fan of her music is all.
Yeah.
Live next to Dos Pueblos High, where Katy Perry went to high school. So in case you can come wander the high school when you're back in Santa Barbara.
Perfect. Might get arrested, but
not when the kids are there, obviously.
Yeah, you have to stay 100 feet away. Joe?
Hey, have you guys seen Katy Perry?
Jojo, come on. Who is it?
I wasn't prepared for this, but I'd have to say Monty Don. He's a British writer and gardener, and he's awesome. Check him out. He's my boy.
Awesome.
Man crush.
Monty
Man
Don.
crush. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I love a man crush.
He's good. He's hot.
He's hot. Literally, because he's been gardening all day.
All right, next up.
All right, from the iRaters Facebook group, what's the most memorable lesson or lessons you learned from your parents?
Good question. I'll start it off. I'll say to treat others as you'd want to be treated yourself is a lesson I think my mother has taught me, and to always be kind to people. Yeah. Push, you got one?
Yeah, I think my parents have always been very selfless. I think that they have always supported me in whatever I wanted to do in life, and they've always put their kids before themselves. So I think that's a lesson that I will take into fatherhood, which is that you put your kids are your priority, and you kind of put them before yourself. So that's
Anybody else want to add?
Yeah,
I would
go ahead, Case.
I was gonna say just persistence on that note, you know, like just when things got you down, you know, you gotta keep on going, and there are times that you want to give up, but better times always lie ahead.
Keep on trucking.
Yeah, my parents, I mean, along with the golden rule and giving to others, my mom's very compassionate as well and very selfless. But I think one thing specifically that I can always remember is staying humble, you know, and not getting a big head. They always kind of kept that in check for us when we were kids. Like, even if, you know, like just not being braggadocious or anything like that, and always kind of keeping that mindset that, like, you know, you can always be better, and you shouldn't brag about whatever you've accomplished, and just kind of be gracious about things, and humility in general.
I think manners too. Manners are a big one that
100%.
my parents instilled.
My mom always would, she always just tells me to follow my dreams, just literally do what makes you happy.
Yeah.
And that's just instilled in my brain, which clearly all of us are doing the same thing too, because we're all doing what we want to do with, you know, music and everything. Jojo, what about you?
I'd say just be nice to people. Like, the majority of people have it way worse off than me and everyone else. So, like, everybody's got something going on. So just be kind to them. And if you see something going on, try to help them out and lift them up a little bit, and don't be an asshole, generally speaking, I guess.
Second, word to that.
Word to your mother.
Word to your mama.
Definitely.
Shout out to all the moms out there.
Oh.
Hi, Mom.
Dad jokes. MB's the master of dad jokes already.
Okay, so via text, somebody would like to know, what is your favorite fruit or vegetable that you have homegrown?
Joe D, let's hear it. You're the gardener.
I got them all. Cherimoyas, pineapples, papayas, mangoes, lychees. I like lychees because they're kind of rare, honestly.
That's true, but you reside in Hawaii though, right, Joe? So I can't grow a pineapple here, can I?
Yes, you can.
Oh,
There you go.
Just
All
cut the top off and plant the top.
Ooh.
all right.
The more you
Guys,
know.
breaking news.
Mhm.
We got a baby.
Oh.
This is the best vegetable I've ever grown.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
It's beautiful.
She's very floppy and sleepy right now.
Hold that.
Hold the
neck.
head. Hold the head.
Oh, milk drunk, I'm sure.
It's nap time.
Man.
Yeah. Don't shake her too much.
Oh,
Take her back.
How do I hold this thing?
mom to the rescue.
Hi, Chloe.
You can't hold them like that. It's impossible. You have to hold them like flat, like holding them up like this. Their heads just go like that.
Like Tim on a drunk night.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Jess, you have. That's how you do it. Yeah, just hold them by the head like that. That's a little bit stronger.
Jess and Tim, before we get to the next question, what is your favorite show that you ever saw of Iration? What's your favorite all-time show?
That's a really hard one, but I'm just gonna go cliche and say your hometown Hawaii Mac show, the very first one that turned me on to you guys, with Pepper and Sublime with Rome. It's one of those that, like, you'll never forget no matter how many shows. I'm terrible with, like, I'm lucky that I even knew this background was observatory. If it wasn't for this guy right here, I would not remember hardly anything. I'm a total space cadet, but you'll never forget, like, a hometown Hawaii Iration show.
Yeah, and that venue too, the Maui Arts and Cultural Center, is so cool because it's right by the beach and it's got a great sound system, and you see the palm trees blowing, and Micah's dad always picks us up. We go hang out at his house. It's always a lot of fun.
Day.
we always rage at my dad's house in Lahaina afterwards, and I think one of those shows was like the last time that my dad's parrot Marcus was alive.
Yes.
It was, I think it was either that show or it was like before that. But I remember the parrot the parrot was 70 years old.
What?
And I had never held it in my life. And I looked over in the middle of like we were having a party and Joe King was just like holding it. Like it's like holding the parrot, and his finger was like bleeding. He's like, yeah, he bit me, and it was like, but then he like after he bit him, he settled down, and I got to hold Marcus for the first time in my entire life. Like growing up, we were always afraid of the bird, and then I got to hold him, and then like 6 months later, he died of cancer at like age 70 or something like that. So pretty crazy. It was good. It was cool.
Your dad rages. Your dad's a player. That was so fun when we went there last time.
Likes the party.
He does.
Heck yeah.
All right. What's our next question, Xavier? Shout out to Xavier, who's producing all of this in the background.
This one is from the iRaiders Facebook group. What advice would you give your 25-year-old self?
We're all still 25, though.
I'll do a quick one just to practice every day. And I think in the beginning, it was all about just the joy of playing on stage. And I guess now that you're on quarantine, especially, it's, you can't play. So it is practicing a lot. And I guess if I had dedicated more hours on a day-to-day basis, I think I would have, instead of in here, could be up here. So that's what I'd give myself for advice.
Anybody else?
I would say don't tell my 25-year-old self, don't buy that Ford Explorer.
R.I.P.
Ford Exploder.
Later get towed off of our street and impounded because we were on tour for like 3 months and I was too poor to pay the car payment, so it just got like towed away and then eventually got repoed.
Oh my gosh.
R.I.P.
Hey, those are the things you got to do, man, to cut it in the biz, as we say.
We do say
that.
We say that a lot.
Any other advice, guys?
Case, you got any advice?
Yeah. Try harder.
Thank you.
I would say party harder because, like, in the next few months, it's all gonna wind down.
Yeah, true.
Get it in while you can.
Joe, you got anything for us?
Yeah, I would have taken drum lessons. I would have practiced, and I would have taken it more seriously. And I would have partied harder in college.
Boom.
Yeah, college, we were just so focused on surfing, I think, too. And then once music became a passion, those were the two focuses. And I kind of look back on those days and going, God, we really didn't do much other than those two things: skateboard, surf, and play music.
That's awesome.
We didn't think this was going to be our job, basically. So,
what the hell are these guys talking about?
Still do that.
I've seen you for the last 15 years.
All right, and for our final question,
Jennifer Strand would like to know what genre of music and artist was a favorite of yours growing up?
there's a few. I mean,
go for it, Joe.
Mine was, I would say,
Or
Steel
Adam.
Pulse or Black Uhuru were two of my faves growing up, roots reggae bands. Joe, you got one?
I'd say like back on the Big Island, we were listening to a lot of Hawaiian music, Hawaii Kane, Ka'au Crater Boys, stuff like that. That will never get old to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, traditional Hawaiian music, local Hawaiian music, and then also like for me, I was really into hip hop. I know we all were kind of in hip hop growing up in high school and stuff like that. I was way into it. Outkast, Wu-Tang Clan,
Tribe.
whatever Tribe, that kind of stuff. Everything that was kind of coming out at that point.
For me, in my younger days, it was a lot of my dad's influence. So like blues, classic rock, oldies, Jimi Hendrix, Stevie Ray Vaughan. But then I think the first kind of music that I gravitated to naturally on my own was definitely like punk rock. A lot of, Fat Records bands. My favorite band probably is No Use for a Name. Tony Sly, R.I.P. One of my favorite songwriters. Bands like that, Good Riddance, NoFX, Lagwagon. And then, as I got older, it started getting more aggressive, and then I got a lot more mellow. So it's like, now it's definitely.
Now you're like a social D guy.
Social distancing.
No, baby. more of a Jack Johnson kind of vibe.
That's right.
check the release date.
Blueberry pancakes, yeah.
What kind of influences do you think can be heard in COASTIN, the new album that's coming out? Poosh, you want to touch base on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is stuff that we really like listening to, which is, I think recently, like a lot of soul music and funk and things like that have been kind of coming back into fashion, and a little bit and some jazz. I think a lot of artists that are taking, kind of drawing from like 70s music and stuff that's kind of considered like timeless. The Marvin Gaye's, and I think you see like Leon Bridges and stuff like that, Tom Misch, artists like that are doing even the like Dua Lipa and the more like danceable tracks that are happening right now. It's all drawing from like those kind of 70s funky Nile Rodgers type things, and Bowie and those. And I think it's just for us, we kind of just took that, applied it to what we do in the reggae world, trying to make really lush, nice soundscapes and kind of create a vibe more than that makes you feel good. I think that's what it was all about. And this one was really trying to set a vibe that kind of goes from the beginning of the record all the way through, that feels good.
And also has it's still, even though it's very cohesive, it's a journey. I think it starts out with a couple, bangers, I guess you would say, where it's like almost like party upbeat tracks. It flows into some really cool reggae, rootsier, dubbier kind of vibes, and then it picks it up and goes into that kind of soul R&B kind of timeless soundscape with some different tones, and then at the end we throw in some acoustics, and it kind of settles out at the end, and it's like Poosh was saying, pretty lush and just and almost like a yoga kind of vibe at the end, I would say, with a couple of the last couple tracks. But yeah, I think it touches on a lot of cool bases and brings a lot of emotions out.
That sounds great, guys.
Yeah, you're gonna like it.
That's awesome. Yeah, one of the things I've liked about Iration since I started listening to you all, and one thing that I don't necessarily always like about other bands, is the progression and just the way each album has kind of kept to what I've originally thought you sounded like, but then how I loved when MB came in and it added such a different element, and I can hear the blues and the stuff that you grew up on listening with your dad. And then yeah, dude, I love the progression and the way your all's music always has a different element to each album, I think, kind of.
Yeah, and then Drake coming in too a couple years later and adding the brass element, I think people love that too. So I feel like we've done a good job refining and but still staying true to the original vibe,
Totally.
And then next year we'll have a 30-piece orchestra.
The Swedish boys choir.
We're auditioning castratos and didgeridoo players as we speak.
Well, that's coming out July 10th. Remember, you guys can all pre-order that on May the 1st. So that's going to be that. Now, next up, we're going to be doing the lineup, which is where we all have a media share, whether it's a Netflix show we're watching, a movie that we want to share, a CD. So Poosh, why don't you go ahead and start it up for us?
All right. Well, mine was this past week on Instagram Live. There was a DJ battle between DJ Premier and the RZA. More famously, DJ Premier did is famous for producing like early Jay-Z, Nas, Gangstar, Guru, artists that really were in the formative Big L, like in the formative, time of hip hop, basically in the way that we know it. And they went song for song, 20 songs, and the RZA is obviously the producer and member of the Wu-Tang Clan. And they went back and forth live on Instagram playing songs and playing like a minute or a minute and a half, like verse and a chorus of each song. And it was a friendly battle. It was like mostly just like to demonstrate, to show their appreciation for each other. And if you look at the chat, it was like every person in hip hop was in the chat. It was like, Diddy and like every rapper you could ever think of, every DJ. It was pretty awesome. I mean, like just the amount of love that they got for that, and just to have the two of the most influential people in hip hop get together for some really quality content was something that I was really stoked on as a hip hop lover.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And it's on YouTube, so you can still watch it. So it's pretty cool.
As bad as the quarantine is, there's a lot of really positive things coming out of it. So that's definitely, that was pretty epic. Adam, what do you got for us, buddy?
So mine this week, I wanted to share a company that I've been using, and I know recently Joe signed up for too, but it's Farm Cart Organics. And it's basically, it started as a little farm cart in Carpinteria where I grew up, or where I was living. And it just had, organic produce from Goleta, Santa Barbara, Carpinteria farms. And basically now during the quarantine, they started a delivery service, and you can get different boxes and different levels of pricing. You can add stuff like rice, beans, chocolate, coffee, bread to your orders. You can have it delivered to your home, or for me, I just go down the street and pick it up at Topa Topa Brewery. But I just thought it was really cool because it just the whole dynamic of shopping, has changed during this time. So it's crazy to see these delivery services and how the landscape has changed in that kind of respect. And Farm Cart Organic is just something I look forward to because it's cool. It's like I don't have to always go to the store and risk exposure or something like that. And I love the produce, and it's really cool. Like it'll tell you where everything comes from, and then I get an email and it'll give you recipes for the items in my box. Like this week I had kale, blood oranges, and it'll tell you these blood oranges are from a farm in Ojai. The kale's from Goleta, and it's all organic. And it's really cool. I've been really enjoying it. I think even after quarantine is done, I'll keep supporting it.
What's your favorite dish to make right now during this quarantine time?
So last night, because I had a bunch of cilantro, I've been making pico de gallo with just lime, tomato, onion, and cilantro. And also just for a snack, they always come with a really big head of kale. So I've been kind of experimenting with kale chips, something I didn't do before, and it's such a tasty, healthy snack. So just doing stuff like that. But yeah, it's really cool. I've been really digging it. And I know this is for Santa Barbara, Carpinteria, Ventura, but I know Xavier uses one in Los Angeles. So, I mean, check your areas. I'm sure there's people doing it around if it's available.
Adam, if you like those kale chips, you got to look into getting an air fryer.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
They're not too expensive, and they make fire kale chips or anything like that. For that matter.
That's a good suggestion, because it is tricky doing it in the oven. If you miss it by a minute or two, they're absolutely torched. So or pull it out too early, it's just like wilted or something.
Any type of root veggie too. Yeah, you just chop it up and throw it in, like sweet potatoes or butternut squash, and make fries. It's pretty good.
Very cool. Yeah, I'll look into that.
Let's not lie. Kale's disgusting. You got to doctor it up, all right?
For sure.
All right. Well, mine is, first I want to talk about Dance Church, which starts in 45 minutes. That was one of my shares 2 weeks ago. I've been doing that with Micah's wife, and I think Asia and Haley are going to be joining too in a little bit. So you guys got to do that. But so I'm a huge fan of a show called Californication, which was with David Duchovny a few years ago. And so I wanted to watch a show similar to that. So I, searched on Google, and I found one of the actresses, Pamela Adlon, who was in Californication, actually has her own show. And if you don't know who Pamela is, you've definitely heard her voice. She played Bobby Hill on King of the Hill. She was on Bobby's World. She was in, what other shows was she in? She's done a ton of, like, she was in Jumanji and Star Trek. And anyway, so she has her own show that she wrote with Louis C.K. and it's unbelievable. It's just, she plays basically herself in Los Angeles, and it's really funny. You also will probably cry a lot. You'll laugh a lot. There's 3 seasons of it, and it's on Hulu, which is where I've been watching it. And have you guys watched this show at all?
What did you say? What was it called?
It's called Better Things. Better Things. It's really good.
I watched Californication, but I'll have to check out Better Things.
It's very similar vibe.
Californication was cool because I used to live in Venice Beach, and the show's based there, and they would always be filming in the neighborhood. So I'd always see the set kind of moving around. So that was kind of cool.
All right. Jess and Tim, what do you guys want to share for us?
Okay, so this is a parlay from earlier. This is the book, Hiking My Feelings. She came out with this. It has a coloring page in it. I don't know if that's really a coloring page, but I like to think it is, because it would relieve stress, right? And in the back of the book, it has something called prompts for reflection. So as you're going through the book, you can go back to each chapter in the back and fill out how you're feeling about something. In addition, because they can no longer do book tours, which was their huge moneymaker and main part of their business, they're doing that 20-day virtual campfire that I talked about earlier. So it's basically like a virtual book tour. They're for every day that they would have been hiking on their tour that had to get canceled, they will be doing one of these campfires. They're going to have musicians, big name musicians that will be on there. They'll be having spoken word, healers, live art, comedians. And basically she reads a chapter of the book, and then she'll bring in whatever the theme of that chapter was. She'll bring in an expert and conduct an interview with that expert to talk about the book. Her book ranges from domestic violence, sexual violence, as well as she has type 2 diabetes. So she talks a lot about that and a lot about health and reasons. And it's a really good thing. So you can't get out and do these things, but you can get this book. You can't see the book. You can get this book, and you can check it out, read it while you're doing that. Maybe check out a virtual campfire.
Cool.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. Jojo.
This is a video of Asia and I's niece.
I threw a curveball.
Oh, he's
another curveball.
There's a curveball.
But
okay,
I have your video too, so don't worry.
Okay, so this is another thing. This is 8-minute abs. This is absolutely psycho. I just figure if you guys are at home and you're willing and able and you want to do a little workout, it's freaking psycho. I think I've only finished it once, but if you do it for like a week straight, you'll have shredded abs.
Who is that guy on the right, though?
He's got hair. I don't know who that is. Nice hair, though.
Hey, Joe, I got a
good.
concept for you. What about
7 minute abs?
Who's
got time
more like
for 8
4
minutes?
I'll beat you and do 6.
60 seconds.
60-second abs. I like it.
One thing about Joe is before like every single show, like while we're taking tequila shots in the front, Joe's in the back, like just doing like he's doing push-ups, and he's like just getting ready, hitting his drum pad.
Got to get the blood flowing.
Yeah,
Gotta do it.
Let's see this chunk.
Here's the other ab workout that Joe really wanted to share, though.
This is Asia and I's little niece. Okay, listen if it's on. Oh no, you can't really hear it.
Oh, cute.
Link it though.
Yeah, you can check the link below, and you can see this for yourself and put it on repeat.
She's just losing it.
She's just laughing. The dog's like, what is going on?
It is quite the hearty belly laugh, though. It's pretty contagious.
She's only 9 months old, so with a very mature laugh
and a very cool hairstyle.
Yeah.
Joe, are we getting a little baby crazy?
I mean, I love kids. I don't know.
Joe has left the chat.
Time for some 60-second ads.
Kason, what you got?
Mine was a YouTube web series called Vela. This is John Florence. He's a professional surfer. He was leading the World Championship Tour in points last year, and he suffered an ACL injury to his knee. And so he had to basically just sack the entire rest of the season. While he was taking time to heal, he got into sailing, and this web series is about a sailing trip that he decides to take to the Line Islands, which are about 1,000 miles south of Hawaii. And it's pretty cool. I thought it was relevant because it kind of showcases taking something negative that happens to you and turning it into something positive, and learning from it and picking up something else, transitioning. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I saw episodes 1 and 2. It was really cool. I enjoyed it a lot too.
Yeah.
So that's
one of my favorite surfers too, John Florence. He's a good surfer from Hawaii.
So is it just a YouTube series?
It is, yeah. They have released 2 of the episodes, and then there's 2 more on the way.
Excellent. And Bizzle?
Mine is going back to what we were talking about, influences of this new COASTIN album. One of my favorite vocalists ever is Otis Redding, and pretty much all his music is pretty awesome. But this particular album spoke to me a little bit. It came out in '65, and it came out shortly after Sam Cooke was killed or was passed away. So Otis Redding was like kind of relatively still unknown, not a huge star yet. And he put out this album and basically like took the world by storm. And if you think about 1965, like the R&B soul singers of that time were like today's pop stars, so he kind of came in and filled that void left by Sam Cooke. And the album's full of a lot of covers, and it's really cool because he covers everybody from like BB King and Sam Cooke, obviously, to he does a Rolling Stones song. He does the Temptations, My Girl. So it's just like it's a banger. And he recorded the entire thing in 24 hours, except for one song.
Wow.
All the takes were within a 24-hour period. And one of the highlights is definitely his version of Respect, which obviously was an Aretha Franklin hit, but actually Otis Redding wrote that song. So it's like almost, it seems like a cover, but it's actually his original song. So it's a really good album. And on Spotify, they have like the deluxe edition, which has mono and stereo, which is kind of cool because I think mono is good for like listening in your house on your speakers. But then if you put on your headphones, you listen to the stereo version and it kind of separates everything. It's got amazing horns from like Gene Miller and Wayne Jackson, and it's got players from Booker T's band and the MGs, and like it's just like a who's who of badass session dudes from that day, and it's like probably arguably one of the best soul records ever. And shout out Otis Redding.
Amazing. Well, remember, everyone, you can check out all of these links down right here below, or go on irationmusic.com and you can check out the blog, and we'll have all of these links on there. And a special shout out to Tim and Jess of the iRaters. Thank you guys so much for coming on here today. Remember, you can check out the iRaters page at facebook.com/groups/iraters808. And Tim and Jess, you want to send us out?
Yes, thank you guys so much for having us. We're very thankful that we could be on here with you guys and spend some time in this crisis. Please stay safe. And remember, when the news gets you down, you can always tune into the Uplifter. Cheers.
Yeah, good to see you.
Solid.
Next week.
That was
All
good.
right.
guys.
Take it easy, brothers.